This is Jason Marsden. You're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Podcaster Meets World, brought to you by the Geekcast Radio Network. I am one of your hosts, the lame-ass worst podcaster of all podcasters in the history of podcasting, TFG1Mike. Why am I saying this, you might ask? Well, I'll explain in a minute. As I am joined, as always, by the best in the world, Steve Megatron. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yo.
So last episode 12, which you would have heard probably last week if this episode goes out in time and not 2 years from now, hopefully, of Podcaster Meets World, you wouldn't believe this, but it actually was recorded in 2024 on separate Discord tracks, but that's not the episode you heard. So we recorded this in the year of 2025 with my new Blue Yeti microphone, as you're hearing right now, and Steve's 3D printer printing in the background. That's the episode you heard last week. Whoops. See, TFG1Mike, worst podcaster ever. So here's the story behind this. I went to go to edit episode 12. I've had the episode 12 multi-track thing set up in sound booth forever, because usually when I set up multi-tracks for podcast episodes, I will leave them. If it's not an episode that I'm doing right then, if it's an episode that I'm preparing for later, I will just leave them and I will keep them on top of each other. I'll keep them stacked. Apparently 2024 was a bad year for me, folks. I completely forgot that we had already recorded season 6, part 1 last year. So I've had a zipped up folder on my desktop on my actual, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, what is this? So I unzip it and I'm like, Steve and Mike audio, what in the hell is this? I go to look again. I go to look in another folder that I'm like, so instead of using the multi-track that I had already had set up, just in case, I open a separate multi-track folder, multi-track thing in Sound Booth, and I add the 2 single tracks of our voices, and I start listening, and I'm like, holy shit, I sound like shit. And the other thing that I go to check, because, ladies and gentlemen, I had what did I have? Elgato Wave 3 microphone last year. Turns out it wasn't the Elgato's fault that I sounded like shit last year. It was Discord's fault. Because Discord, huh?
I said,
Yeah, because Discord, I'm actually in here right now looking at it. In the voice and video settings, they have 3 noise suppression options for you. They have standard, none, and something that is called crisp. And apparently mine was set to crisp all year last year, which 16-year podcast veteran here, you're a 19, almost 20-year podcast veteran. We normally, like how I edit my podcasts, I actually look and see what's in the waveform at times. And I kept seeing this like little I only did that because I don't think it's actually going to make an action. That will make a noise, obviously, and I will see that. But because luckily, with looking at the settings right now, thank God it's not automatically set to crisp. Thank God Discord didn't go stupid and reset my sound. Look, apps and functions and whatever. If we have it set to a certain setting, don't go changing it on us because you think we deserve better or because you think you know better than we do. I want actual intelligence, not artificial intelligence when it comes to settings on certain things. Anyway, so that was the problem in all of my podcasts last year. I had apparently the Discord setting was set to crisp. And I could see this it's like a little 2-inch thing of a sound of a, and that's what it was. It wasn't the freaking microphone, the $50 microphone that I bought last year. It was not that at all. That microphone is still good. I could sell that right now if I wanted to. It's too much of a hassle for me to do so. It's sitting right here next to my desk, off in the other corner that nobody can see because I'm not on camera, but it's one of those things where, yeah, am I happy that I upgraded to a Blue Yeti? Absolutely. After 16 something years. Okay, I finally have a Blue Yeti, the gold standard or whatever you want to call it. Great. And I'm happy with it, but it's one of those things where I went back and I listened to this audio and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, Steve, that I called out your 3D printing in the middle of the episode we recorded in 2025 when I listened back to the 2024 audio and I sound like garbage. So that's the story, folks, of episode 12 of Podcaster Meets World, of how it was originally supposed to be aired in 2024, but apparently I went through too much crap last year with my health and everything else that I completely forgot that we had already recorded it. However, we have never recorded episode 13, and here we are now. Speaking of episode 13, episodes 13 to 22 of Boy Meets World, season 6. Okay, you can talk now. Sorry.
Yeah, so that happened. And then Mike made us do it twice.
Hey, at least I waited a year.
Yeah, this time I had a printer. Last time I did not.
At least I don't hear it now. I'm sure it's printing, but at least I don't hear it now.
No, it's not turned on right now. I printed some stuff earlier. It was messing around with settings. It's amazing how, and this is unrelated to the show, but it's amazing how people can be like, oh, this printer sucks, blah, 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 like in the group. And I'm like, dude, do you even know how to use it? I'm like, I'm an idiot when it comes to the 3D printing.
Mm-hmm.
This sucker prints, like, unless I put a setting really, really poorly.
Yeah.
This thing prints like immaculate. I printed a command chair from the Battle Bridge of the Next Generation earlier. Smoothest freaking print. And like people are like, oh, after the update, the firmware, it ruined my prints. And it's like, maybe your prints were garbage. Like, because, and I'm saying this from reference because I made 2 separate prints today. One of them being I printed like GMC Sonoma truck, like early 90s, the Cyclone. Anyways, I printed that file, and the file was like tiny, and I blew it up and made it large, and you know, so that I could kind of try and print like somewhat of what my truck would have looked like. And I was like, I can print it in some different colors and then paint some of the differences, like, because part of it would already be the right color. And so I printed it. Well, the top of this thing has some weird designs, but it's remnants of whoever made it. So like I would have to sand it down to smooth it out. And I looked at the 3D print file. Sure enough, it was the file. You know, and so I'm like, okay, so there's nothing wrong with my printer. And then I printed the command chair immediately after. Like I put in the color I needed for that, printed it immediately after. Smoothest freaking print. like super crisp. Like it looks like it was, you know, a part of like a play set from Playmates Toys back in the day. Like it's that crisp.
Wow.
And so I was going, well, obviously half these people are just in there complaining and don't want to actually figure out how to use the printer. And then the other half are like, you know, praising it like, I've been printing over 100 hours and I've not had any problems. Like I've printed 112 hours on this thing and it's, you know, knock on wood, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's very much you have to understand how to use the device and then very much, you know, the rest of it. So anyways, yeah, that's my 3D printing divergence here in this episode. But yeah, this episode of Podcaster Meets World, we're going to be covering quite a few episodes that are all over the place.
I wouldn't say they're all over the place. I would say that they are basically the emotional juggernaut of we're going to rip your throat out every episode except one.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll agree with that because there's definitely a lot emotionally going on. It's like a roller coaster of emotion throughout the entire this back half of the season. Between everybody.
Yeah, everybody's got something going on now.
Although some matter more than others in this.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that too.
Yeah. And I will just right up and say the only one that I'm talking about, hopefully it's the same one you're talking about. Yes, it does matter at the end of the day, but the presentation of it is okay. I'm not a horror guy. I'm pretty sure for the most part you're not a horror guy.
Nope.
I don't think I've ever seen Psycho all the way through. I know of it. I know what it is. I know, you know, Bates Motel, yada, 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 yada. 1960s, etc., etc., etc. 1960 American horror film produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, okay. Well, here we go, folks. Good thing this is a Podcaster Meets World of the present. And on over to Cinema Geeks, where Optimus Solo and the Comic Concierge are doing their Alfred Hitchcock presents Alfred Hitchcock retrospective. I don't know when they're going to get to Psycho. But yeah, season 6, episode 21, the psychotic episode. This is kind of like the Scream episode that they did. I forget which season that was in, but it's similar to that. And I know technically this is, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but I'm jumping ahead so we don't have to waste too much time on this later. This is basically because Cory is not really having cold feet, but his emotions are all over the place about getting married, don't get married, yada, yada, yada. He's all over the place. And he has this horror dream about killing everybody in his life kind of thing. Like shove them all down elevator shafts and stuff. So the final 3 episodes of the season, Truth About Honesty, the psychotic episode, and the State of the Unions. I understand why the psychotic episode is between those two, but I could have done without it. I don't think you need that episode. I don't know. I'm just not a horror person. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we start off this back half of the season we'll have a good time then. And Chet Hunter, Sean's father, returns, and oh boy, does he ever! Played by Blake Clark. And,
I love that actor, like in everything he's in. Like he just, I don't know, he's just fun. I mean, I watched 50 First Dates recently, and you know, he's in it and humorous and.
Yes.
He actually replaced Jim Varney as Slinky Dog.
Yep. Yeah. That was a good casting there. So Blake returns as Chet, and Chet comes back into Sean and now Jack's lives because Sean and Jack are half brother. It's half brothers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Chet's the dad.
Yeah. Trying to think of this whole family situation. Anyway, so Sean and Jack are half brothers. They're working on getting along, but now that Chet's back in the picture, it's obviously difficult for Sean because Sean knows what Chet is like and Jack doesn't. Jack never had a chance to get to know Chet, obviously, and that makes things difficult, but Chet just wants to get to know his two boys. In this episode, he has a second... Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I missed it. All right, that's what... He has a heart attack in this episode when Rachel gets out her cake. And then in the hospital, he had a second heart. See, I didn't realize, like, I knew he had a bad heart, and I had known that they weren't sure what was going to happen with Chet, but I didn't realize that he had a second heart attack while in the hospital. I just knew that, okay. I just thought they had meant the first... In this episode, when everybody else finds out that Chet had a heart attack and is in the hospital, and everybody goes to the hospital, I just thought they meant that it was the first one that he had suffered at the apartment. I didn't realize he had a second one at the... Oh, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was kind of a rough way to, like...
Yeah.
Toss him out.
Yeah.
Like, I did not, like, when I watched it originally, I did not expect that to happen.
No, I didn't expect it to happen either. And, well, when I watched it originally, like X number of years ago when it aired on Disney or when it aired on ABC Family or whenever, but going back, I mean, I remember what it had. I just didn't remember the second. I knew the first one. I knew what had happened with, like I said, at the apartment. I just didn't. Oh man! But if you think about it, that guy, even though, and I think it's said in a later episode when Sean goes on his road trip. If you think about it, I mean, Chet's heart giving him an attack. That guy had nothing but love for his son. Even though he never showed it in the right way, even though he could never stay all the time because of his need to either go hunt his wife down or go whatever, he loved his son as much as any other father ever would. And, you know, we see that love later, and we'll talk about that in a couple episodes here, but, oh man, just, going from episode 12, cutting the cord, to episode 13, we'll have a good time then. And I don't know who came up with the episode title. I don't know if it was the writer. I don't know if it was the director. I don't know if it was Michael Jacobs himself that came up with the episode title for episode 13. But you bastards. I say that lovingly, but also you bastards, because we'll have a good time then. It's a song lyric. Cats in the Cradle. We'll have a good time then.
Yeah, I remember that song.
It's from that when the like, yeah. This whole back half of this season just tugs at your heartstrings in every which way. And again, like I said, I love that Sean is center stage, even though, you know, and again, it's boy meets world. It doesn't specifically say which boy has to be meeting the world. It doesn't specifically say, hey, this is the Cory show.
Well, I mean, because we have episodes where it's also Sean or Jack.
Yeah, Sean or Jack or Eric or, you know, anybody.
Now, I did feel like they started fleshing out a lot more in this last half of season 6 and then season 7 with making them all grow up.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And move on and deal with real issues that people are dealing with. Like Sean had a very messed up life from the start.
Yep.
And then Jack, like, it just goes to show like what the two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
From Chet's sons. And then like Cory's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Cory's in the middle, but Cory, so as we're recording this, and yes, folks, I do this to basically put pressure on myself to get this shit done. March 24th, 2025 is when we're recording this, on a Monday of all friggin' days. I watched all of these episodes before recording. And Man, Cory, I am hoping to hell in season 7 he does a little bit more growing up, because this Cory in the back half of season 6, he's a 19-year-old who acts worse than a 2-year-old.
Thanks. I need to go by myself.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you for coming. Well, that was one great party, huh? All right, now go get on your Valentine's Day clothes.
Cory, I'm not going out.
What do you mean you're not going out?
All I wanted to do was something nice for your family.
Why?
Because they're going to be my family too someday.
Right, they're going to be your family too someday. You know why?
Why?
Me.
What?
Me. You want to get to them, you go through me. We had plans together, and I will not... Where'd she go?
Sometimes plans change, Cory.
Take a hike, screw up.
Whoa.
This day was important to me. Topanga knew that.
It was a very important day to your mother, too.
Yes, but it didn't have to be today. Today was our day, you know? Sometimes things come up. What came up? Mom will still be pregnant tomorrow. This was our first engaged Valentine's Day.
Cory, your mother needed this.
I needed to be with Topanga on Valentine's Day. I needed to make up for last year.
You're being incredibly selfish.
I'm being selfish because I wanted to spend the one day you're supposed to spend with your girlfriend with my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm a bad man, huh?
Cory, you spend every day with her.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, yeah, you can be in love with somebody, but the world still goes on around you. Topanga knows that. You don't.
A 2-year-old acts better than this kid does right now. I'm just scratching my head at why. And I'm going to make sure there's no music in it, but I am going to put in the podcast, as we're talking about Cory, I'm going to put examples of Cory's behavior in this episode, because it's just like his arguments with Topanga. I don't know. It just...
Cory, you transparent moron. If you sigh one more time, I'm going to give you something to sigh about.
Not for 1 minute. On this nationally recognized day of love, did I not think about you and want to be with you?
Cory, we are here for a very important reason. Believe it or not, but there are other things in this world more important than us.
I don't believe it, because that's why we're getting married, because there is nothing more important than us.
I want to see him grow. Like you're saying, the characters are supposed to grow up, and I get it. He's having growing pains, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't right now, after watching this back half, I don't care anything about Cory's character whatsoever at this point. I don't like Cory's character at all at the end of this season.
Cory, look around you. Do you recognize where you are?
Take my hand.
We're in the hospital. This is real. The reality is that your little brother is back there fighting for his life.
No. Reality is this hand.
I don't like it when you use us to hide from the rest of life, Cory.
I don't like it that you're not Topanga anymore.
What?
He's very much self-absorbed this back half, and it makes you wonder if, like, whoever was writing these was like, you know, I'd love to focus on everybody else, but Cory's kind of in the way. Yep.
And I mean, we have great writers. These are really great writers that do great work. You know, I just don't like, and it's stable writers that have written episodes throughout the entire series before this. So 13 here was written by Gary H. Miller. We got Jeff Manel, Matthew Nelson, Patricia Carr, and Laura Runnels. I'm doing these in order. Matthew Nelson, Barry Safchick, David Bromfield, Allison M. Gibson, Carlos Aragon, Barbara Feldman. You know, so you got great writers, and you have great directors working on people who have also written episodes. Jeff McCracken and David Kendall, who have directed the series before and have written stuff for the series before as well. So it's not like your standard 80s or 90s cartoon series. I know this is live action television, but it isn't like your standard 80s or 90s cartoon series where they just bring in a writer to write an episode. You have your series writers that have been on the series for the past 5, 6 seasons. It's just that where Cory's character is going for growth, I guess they had to make him a little bit immature and unlikable. I don't know if they were going for unlikable, but he's very unlikable in this back half.
Sadly.
Like, I'm not rooting for Cory Matthews at all in this back half, unfortunately.
This Valentine's Day is about us, baby. Ring-a-ding-ding, huh? The focus is back on us.
I know Valentine's Day is very important to you, Cory. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Huh? You remember what happened last year, right?
Oh, please, let's not talk about last year.
No. Last year.
Here we go.
Last year, we were... I mean, you and I were... I can't even talk about it.
Broken up because you kissed another girl?
Like an elephant, the memory on this one. You know, what about you? You kissed that soap opera guy.
You mean the artist.
Whatever. The point is, where have you been? I mean, today was the day we were supposed to talk about our plans for Valentine's Day. You knew that.
Morgan called me. She needed a ride home from school.
Morgan, what did you call her? Why didn't you call Mom? You know today is the day before Valentine's Day. You know I am trying to get the focus back on Cory and Topanga.
Mom forgot about me again. Just like she forgot to buy the Valentines for me to hand out at school, which is why Bobby Porterfield thinks I don't like him, which is why he didn't invite me to his party tomorrow night. I'm very sad about this. Hey.
No.
Why don't we invite Morgan to spend Valentine's Day with us?
No! You want to hear what my answer is?
No! Cory, this party was very important to your sister. With the new baby coming, she's feeling very excluded.
You know who else feels excluded? Me.
This is your sister.
That's why I never asked her out on a date. Now, does our first engaged Valentine's Day mean nothing to you at all?
Of course it means something to me, Cory, but sometimes things come up that are more important than you and me.
Oh, what's more important than you and me, except me?
Anything else on episode 13?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So, I mean, I love the episode. It's very, very heart-wrenching. And it does this thing where it starts. So Sean, nobody knows where his mom is. He doesn't know. And now his dad's gone. And I believe Sean in that episode says that he goes, oh, I just need to be alone, or I am alone. And he's not thinking about, and Sean is in his grief. It's not that he's self-absorbed or anything like that. He goes, oh, I am alone. But he's not thinking about the fact that he has his friends, the fact that he kind of sort of has Angela, because that kind of devolves during the grief and everything else, obviously, unfortunately. And then, we have all that. And that's an interesting thing. We get to episode 14, getting hitched. Oh, boy.
You and I are living together to get closer as a couple. This needs to be an ordinary night where we behave just as ourselves, nothing special. Sex is the last thing we should be doing.
You are wrong. You just are.
But I'm looking very forward to spending all of the next few days together, getting to know you better than I ever have before.
Well, if I would have known we were just going to do that, I would have bought the flannel pajamas with the feet. Instead of the silk pajamas and the silk blanket and these silk sheets. And now I got blood on them.
Cory and Topanga play the fiancé game to prove how compatible they are.
I love the game that how Eric and Rachel are just instantly able to just do it without thinking, and those two are like, what?
I love how Feeney asks the question about what's her favorite fish, and Eric answers, and his answer is spelled. Did you see the card? I didn't take a screenshot of this, but the card he spells it penguin. It's misspelled. And Mr. Feeney's like, Mr. Matthews, I don't, and she says, oh yeah, do I know my man or what? And like, oh God, yeah, how Rachel and Eric are more compatible than Cory and Topanga, who have been together since they were 2. And that's the other thing. They got to decide. I mean, they've clearly decided in this back half of this season, like, that's when they were together. But there are so many times of when Cory and Topanga were first together, whether it was the monkey bars, whether it was the llama pen, whether it was when they were 2 or 4 or 10 or whatever. It is what it is. So they try living together and they go through all this stuff and toe clippings and facial masks and... All right, Mr. Marrying Man, you got any toe masks or facial clippings?
No.
Have you? Okay, just, like... Meanwhile, Sean is ignoring or has ignored Jack's repeated calls about clearing out Chet's trailer. And once Sean does actually go to the trailer, he's kind of outraged that Chet actually went to Jack's dad to ask him for help in order to pay for Sean's tuition to college. But again, it goes to how much Chet loved his son. Chet wanted his son to go to college no matter what. And he knew that he couldn't do it on his own, and he had to ask for help. So this isn't... Chet is not a deadbeat dad. Chet and Jack, yes, Jack is Chet's son, but Chet, I think, is a character that he's... He wants the best for his kids, and whatever the best is going to be, if that's not him, like he says with Alan, in the hospital room. Hey, Alan, can you take care of them? Can you take care of my boys for me when I'm gone? And obviously he says, oh, when I move to Vegas. But when he said that, when I watched that this time, when he was talking to Alan and Amy, I knew he wasn't talking about moving to Vegas. I knew something was going to happen to Chet. I just freaking knew. I mean, obviously I've seen this episode. I've seen what happened to Chet before, but I just had a pit in my stomach. I'm like, Chet ain't moving to Vegas. No way. So I think Chet going to Jack's father and asking for help for him to help Sean, I think that was a good fatherly thing to do because he wanted to see his kid go to college. And I understand Sean's point of view of it because Sean has always had this point of view of, quote unquote, I'm trailer trash. Cory is sort of middle class.
I'll never do it. I'll never make anything out of myself.
Yeah. And we're starting to hopefully see the turnaround of that. Hopefully now. But that's what happens in this episode. But this is what Jack's stepfather, I should say. So Sean decides to take the trailer out on the open road and convinces Cory to accompany him for the weekend. For the quote-unquote weekend. Right. Uh-huh. And Jack has been struggling to contain his own grief in this, and
then he cries to Rachel, and then they both start making out, and Eric is... It hurts Eric.
It hurts Eric, yeah. Yep.
And then he pretends he doesn't see it, at least here.
Yeah, no, see, they don't see him. He comes in, he sees them, and then he leaves, because he's doing laundry for a week. But he's doing laundry, he sees them, and he immediately leaves. They don't see him come. They don't see him open the door. They don't even hear him open the door, which is weird to me. They don't hear him open the door. I would have heard that open door. I would have immediately stopped as soon as I heard the door open. But I understand why in the scene that it isn't, the scene doesn't stop and Eric immediately leaves. And man, yeah, that freaking hurts, obviously. Any other overall thoughts on 14? Any other things that you liked or didn't like for 14?
No, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up, is they're just having to deal and as they're doing reconnaissance on their dad.
Yeah. I like this episode. I think it's a good episode. And one of the things I like about watching shows now and doing these podcasts, whether it's this show or whether it's an episode of Studio 2009 where we, my buddy Dave Draper and I are doing single episode by episode runs of Columbo, where we do an episode per podcast kind of thing. We're online now. It's all online. We don't have to wait. Like, can you imagine if we tried to do this in the 90s? Obviously, podcasting wasn't around in the 90s. But can you imagine doing a week? Oh, I would have to. All these people out there doing Disney Plus podcasts on these Marvel shows or whatever other shows are coming out weekly on Disney Plus. Oh, it drives me nuts. I can't do. And we're going to talk about this on a separate podcast, probably Geekcast Radio or something. Streaming is meant to be binge watched at your own leisure. It's not meant to be have to wait a week. Appointment television is over, in my personal opinion. At least for me it is. I don't know. I want to do it on my own time when I have the time to do it. And I want to podcast about it. So episode 15 is Road Trip, directed by David Kendall, written by Matthew Nelson, aired February 5th, 1999. 4 days before my 19th birthday. Yay.
Sarah?
What, Sean?
Can I see that picture? Do you hear me here? What do you think you're going to find?
This one?
Yeah. How about that? Look. Okay, now it just got interesting.
You know that guy?
Well, kinda. He's my father.
That's your father? Hey, Dad!
No, don't call him over. He hates me. Why do you guys have a picture of my dad?
Dad, hurry.
This boy bothering you?
I just stopped here for lunch.
This is Chet Hunter's son.
Yes, of course he is. I knew you looked familiar. Chet's been showing us pictures of you for I don't know how long.
I like the one where you're getting a bath in the sink.
Great.
You're Sean.
Yeah.
How's medical school?
Actually, it's just college.
Chet always tells a good story. And you're Cory.
Yeah.
The kid Sean's always getting out of them scrapes.
Actually... Now, how come there's a picture of my dad at this truck stop?
To take his mind off his dad's death, Sean takes Cory along on a soul-searching road trip in Chet's trailer, where they end up in a truck stop where a young waitress, portrayed by band Nobody's Angel, are searching for something more, just like Sean. Okay, so this episode, oh boy. After I watched this, I immediately went onto Spotify to see if this was just a thing for the show or if it's real. Nobody's Angel was a real band. The song that they sang in the episode, I've got it on Spotify already.
That's funny.
It's not funny. It's cool. I love that. I love when shows do that. Yeah. Absolutely. Turns out Sean has no intention of returning home, but he tells Cory to go home because Cory should go home.
It's also because he's feeling like he's worthless.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Sean must persuade Cory to let him go, just as the girl's father/boss must let them find their own way. Meanwhile, Eric tries to understand the kiss he witnessed between Jack and Rachel. As do they. Sean discovers that his father, a truck stop regular, was secretly very proud of him, and in a surprise coda, Chet's ghost appears to Sean. As father and son finally reconcile their differences, and Sean drives off into his uncertain future. So, this is the first time, Season 6, Episode 15, this is the first time we get Ghost Chet.
Which I kind of liked.
No, I love it. I think it's great. It was
different, especially for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love this.
It had to be hard to act around him, though.
Yeah. How? Like,
well, I'm just saying, acting as actors.
Yeah, I know.
Sitting there just talking. Come on, boy, what are you doing? Stop being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah. And I like how they did it. I like how they pulled it off where he wasn't there and then he was, and then they didn't do the standard magical fairy dust fade away. He just disappeared again. Like he was there, then he wasn't. He wasn't there, he was, then he wasn't again. And they kind of do that throughout the rest of this series as well as into Girl Meets World. And man, when he shows up in Girl Meets World, oh man, just was not expecting that, but it works so well. But yeah, man, getting hitched, or not getting hitched. Road Trip. Road Trip was really well done, and it was so fun. And I know that guy, Art LaFleur as Bill. I swear I've seen him. He looks so familiar to me. I'm looking him up right now. Talk about what else you liked about this one while I look him up.
I think it's funny the dialogue though that the father son have.
Yeah,
even though they don't really have a dialogue together.
Yeah, it's a kind of, we know. It's a kind of.
I did like the road trip thing, and I did like the fact that they were all kind of. It was showing like another part of Chet's life.
I knew I recognized him.
What, Tooth Fairy?
Oh God, you're right. Holy, from the Santa Claus?
Yeah, the Molinator.
Oh my God. How did I not? And how is that not what he's known for on IMDb? But the first thing that pops up, Babe Ruth from The Sandlot.
What?
Yeah. He was the Babe in The Sandlot. When Babe Ruth shows up, remember, kid, legends never die. In The Sandlot from 1993. Yeah. He was the Babe. I knew I recognized that jaw. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Episode 15, very awesome. Getting into episode 16, My Baby Valentine, directed by David Kendall, written by Patricia Carr and Laura Runnels, February 12th, 1999. Cory becomes upset when Topanga seems less interested in spending Valentine's Day with him than with consoling Amy about the last stages of her pregnancy. So when Topanga decides to cheer Amy up with a baby shower, Cory takes charge. No, Cory. No, don't, and stop.
Again, he's selfish.
He's selfish. He's an asshole.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, dudes' brains don't fully develop until we're, like, 25.
I get it, but he thinks a baby shower is a female version of a bachelor party, but it's not. Everybody gets distracted when Amy's water breaks, and she is rushed to the hospital for a premature delivery, one which the new baby may not survive. Sean is still on the road to nowhere. Morgan, who we very rarely even see, but we are now seeing her now, less than happy about the new arrival of the new sibling, and Jack and Rachel worry about the effects of revealing their new relationship to Eric, who announces that he already knows and is moving out. I love that Morgan kicks Cory out of the house. I love that. I just freaking love it. I love what she says to him. I love that. I wish we had more of Morgan in these. I mean, I know we have some of Morgan Matthews in these final two seasons, but I wish we had more of Morgan.
She was always kind of like a background character, though. That's why they changed actresses.
Right, and I understand that, but I understand she always was a background character, but like when she got older, when she got to the point of being the age that she is in this specific episode, I wish we had a little more of her, that's all. Just because of the way that she acts. I thought it was a good thing. So Eric is moving out because the relationship has changed, because Jack and Rachel are now a thing. And really, I mean, Eric and Rachel, that lasted for what? 10 seconds? 20 seconds? An episode?
I think it's because he thought he had a shot.
I know. I'm not trying to. I don't want to downplay his feelings for her or her feelings for him, and I'm not trying to discount that. I'm just saying that, and the same thing with her and Jack. Like, oh man, it's because he was grieving for his father, and then obviously all of a sudden everything changes. But I wish we had seen. Again, my point is more so. I wish we had seen more of Eric and Rachel than just like, that's what I want to know. How long were they together? If they know each other that well that they can beat the pants off of, we were together since we were 2, Cory and Topanga. Okay, so season 6, beginning of season 6, when they first get to the apartment or the dorms or wherever they are, and they meet Rachel because she gets dumped by her boyfriend or she breaks up with her boyfriend or whatever it is. Eric and Jack kind of fight over her between themselves. Eric starts dating her, and now we get to this episode. It can't be more than 3 months? 4 months? And again, this is me trying to figure out time in television land, and doesn't work, obviously, but my point is I just wish we had seen a little bit more with them, because we have so many storylines in this season, in the whole of the season, not just this back half, that we don't really get to see a lot of Eric and Rachel. I think the fiance game was the most we saw of them together. Any other thoughts on My Baby Valentine?
Nope.
All right.
Hi, Josh. I'm Sean. Look, this is the second time I've been in the hospital this year, and I don't really like the way the first one turned out, so I want you to listen to me. I've been out of town. See, I was in a real bad way, and I went looking to see what was important in my life. I met a lot of people out of town who were looking for the same thing. Now you're in a real bad way. And I came back here because I want to tell you something. Don't go out of town. Don't go anywhere. Life is right here with these people. With your family. And my family. We got the greatest family there is, Josh. We want you to be with us so we can watch you grow and see you change and make great memories together.
Episode 17. While everyone anxiously awaits news about newly born Joshua Gabriel, Cory's continued self-absorption alienates Topanga, who now considers herself to be a full-fledged member of the Matthews family. Cory tries to reconnect with the old weird Topanga. This comes to life with the lipstick scene from Season 1, Episode 4, Cory's Alternative Friends. Even Eric's little friend Tommy views Joshua as his new brother. It's only when Sean returns and is accepted by the elder Matthews as family does Cory realize where his true values lie. Cory gotta go. Cory's the one that should be going down that elevator shaft, not everybody else. No, I'm not kidding, dude. This kid, Jesus, thank God. Thank God it only took the return of his best friend to make him come to his damn senses. But thank God he comes to his senses eventually. But Jesus. And we gotta talk about Alan and Amy, because man, what are they in their mid 40s? Maybe? I don't know how old they are. But this is their fourth kid. And I think when we talked about the promises, because it wasn't prom night. Yeah, it was prom night that the debacle happened, where Cory mixed up the rooms, or Alan mixed up the rooms, because Alan and Amy had a room at the same hotel as Cory and Topanga, because Cory was finally going to get sex, supposedly.
In his mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the night that Amy got pregnant from Alan, thank God. So, yeah, man, going through that, especially going through that as a premature, oh God, I couldn't even.
I feel like they were stuck at this weird pivotal moment during Boy Meets World where a lot of characters had just been kind of thrown by the wayside, and some of the actors were possibly like a little bit like, hey, if you're not going to keep me, I'll go find other work. Like, so either please put me in episodes or, you know, so I wonder if some of that kind of came into play, and that's why you started seeing more of Morgan. You started seeing, you know, the parents and, you know, the baby and all these other scenarios going on simultaneously instead of just the Cory and Sean show. Because, I mean, again, they all moved out and they all evolved past, you know, their season 1, 2, and 3 selves. And so here we are. With them in college. And so I feel like we hit this moment where it's like, what do I do with all these other backlog of characters? Do I, you know, toss them aside? Do I use them? You know, and they were trying to find ways of making them relevant.
Yeah. And I think it works for the most part, except it works in a way where it just tugs at your heartstrings, because look how many other parents are in that NICU. I don't know if it's actually a NICU, but it's an intensive care unit. It's a neonatal. Yeah. I was right. Wow, God, I was right, and I'm not even a parent. Holy crap! Like, look how many other parents are in there. And what I don't think is it this episode or the next one? I forget if it's this one or the next one. Whenever they eventually do get to take baby Joshua home, like, you know, Alan saying the prayer or saying goodbye to all the parents that end up in that room kind of thing. Like, wow. Like, you know, he's not just saying a prayer for himself or for Amy it's for everybody. And the same thing, like, with, I think it's, was it Michael? The character Michael that's in there, he's like, oh, these prayers are for everybody that's in here, everybody that has to deal with this, because that's some horrifying stuff. Premature births are not easy things at all those babies, all those parents go through a lot of emotional shit.
Well, and it isn't just that, like, they also put them in there if, like, it's a C-section or like an emergency situation. Because Ian kind of went to that initially.
Did he?
Because, well, it was like an emergency C-section thing that happened. They gave too much medication for the numbing agent, and it spiraled both Mary's and Ian's heart rate. So in order to counteract that, the attending physician freaked out. The one that was supposed to be, that was on call, they didn't call. And suffice it to say, they freaked out, panicked, and then did a C-section. And he ended up in one and she ended up in another. And I was like, kind of like, where do I go?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was going on for a while. And so, I mean, it can be very scary in the hospital when all that crap happens. And thankfully everything was all right. And, you know, but I mean, it's one of those situations. I mean, no parent wants to see, or no person wants to see a kid in a NICU.
No, not at all. And I don't know if it's this specific episode, but by this episode, Eric has his big brother, little brother thing going on, and we've met Tommy already at this point.
Tommy dribbles down the backcourt. He fakes left. Left. Tommy, left.
It is left.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay, he fakes left. He shoots. He scores! They win the championship! They win the championship! And as a reward, Tommy gets to carry Eric's suitcase down to the car!
Not gonna happen. Why don't you get Big Girl to carry it?
'Cause Big Girl's with the rat, Tommy.
Is that why you're so sad?
No, I'm not sad. Actually, that's the farthest thing from my mind.
Well, something's bothering you. You're acting different.
Yeah? How do I normally act?
And oh boy, I like that storyline for Eric. It gives Eric an emotional storyline, finally. We've had some emotional storylines with Eric, but most of Eric's storylines have either been, hey, let's play up the comedy angle, or hey, let's play up the stupid angle. And I think with the Tommy story, it's been, hey, let's see what adult Eric can do. Let's see what grown-up Eric can do, or how that can work.
Hi, big girl. Hi, Rat.
Hey, Tommy. Eric, look, man, we told you don't have to do this, okay?
No, Eric, please don't move out. This is what we wanted to happen.
Yeah, this is the right thing to do, guys. No, you know what the right thing to do is not even to think about this right now.
It's funny because the whole Tommy thing comes back into play in Girl Meets World.
Yep.
Which I did love how in that series they tied up all the loose ends.
Yep. We're gonna get to that
with everyone, and so
with everyone,
yeah.
Oh man, I remember. There's not many moments I watch TV in the last 15, 16, 17 years where I literally either fall out of my chair, fall off my bed, or there have been 2 moments where I am just, my jaw's on the floor. And those 2 moments are when Tommy returned in Girl Meets World, and when Shockwave went from gray to purple in Transformers Animated, because finally he got his true fucking colors. But no, the emotional thing here with Eric and Tommy, and oh man, just again, they are, even though this back half is so stacked, as we said earlier in the beginning of the podcast episode, folks, even though it is so stacked with all the characters, they are still taking time to give, like, not every episode is dealing, like, some of these episodes, yes, deal with multiple characters and multiple storylines, but they are taking the time. Like, you're not seeing Amy and Alan at the same time as you're seeing Eric and Tommy. Yes, Tommy and Eric go to the hospital because Eric doesn't want Tommy to know his new baby brother's in the hospital.
Eric, you shouldn't even be here. You should be at the hospital.
Pancakes!
What?
The International Hospital Pancakes! Isn't that what you're going to say there, Rach?
What's the matter with you?
Oh, nothing.
I don't want Tommy to know about the hospital.
Who's in the hospital?
See what you just did? Huh? Look, I mean, I don't want the kid to know about the baby, all right? The kid's got no family. He comes over here once a week to hang out with his big brother, Eric. The kid doesn't need to know about this.
The kid wants to know who's in the hospital, Eric.
All right, little man, come here. Okay, Tommy, see, I've got this new little brother, but, don't worry, because you're still my little brother, too. But, see, this new little guy, he's pretty sick.
Can we go see him?
You want to go see him?
If he's your little brother, then isn't he my little brother, too?
Like, literally, there's a whole scene where Eric basically covers Tommy's ears and eyes and everything. Like, don't cover the kid's eyes, man. Like, his eyes have nothing to do with how he hears. Eric. It's just Eric being Eric, but it is what it is. But, like, he's trying to protect him from it. And then Tommy's like, but Eric, what's going on with your brother? Can I go meet him? Can we go? You want to go see my baby brother? Yeah, let's go. So again, it's all in, it's one of those moments where all in kind of thing. And which I've kind of skipped into episode 18, but it is what it is. Okay, so 17 was Resurrection. 18 is, can I help to cheer you? Shouldn't it be, can I help to cheer you up? I don't know. I don't understand that title, but it is what it is. In this one, Topanga's in wedding plan mode and persuades / strong arms Cory into accompanying her Sean and Angela into a posh ceremony in the Hall of Her Dreams, where an unhappy father of the bride offers Cory $1 million to marry his daughter.
Topanga, listen, I gotta tell you, I feel very uncomfortable being at a wedding that we weren't invited to.
Cory, it goes on all the time. Mr. Beckman, the wedding planner, said that as long as we keep a low profile, everything will be okay.
Cory refuses at first, and then the whole bunch of things happen. Meanwhile, the more interesting thing, as we kind of already have talked about, Tommy pleads with a heartbroken Eric. Oh, no. So by this point, we get into the point of Tommy and Eric where Eric may adopt Tommy. Tommy might get adopted by a couple in California. Which, how does that work? Okay, so I was a ward of the state of Kentucky when I was in my teen years back in the 90s. So when my mom at the time in 96, I was 16 years old, she was living in Florida. The state of Kentucky and the state of Florida had to make a deal where I could go live with my mom. Obviously, it didn't work because I ended up back in the state's care. It's not because of it's a whole thing, but it's one of those things where I lived with mom in Florida for about, 3.5, 4 months. She just couldn't handle me. I was 16. I was not exactly happy because it was freaking Florida and I don't do heat. There were other contributing factors, but it's just one of those things. But to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, two different states don't usually do, I don't know about the adoption part of it, but normally states don't interact that way. Usually you don't have, I don't think, couples from different states going around looking at kids from different states, but I could be wrong. So anyone out there who's in the adoption world, if you know anything, feedback at geekcastradio.com, subject line TFG1Mike, here's your info about adoption. Because I'm seriously curious, because I've never heard about this. Yeah, I think it's cool, it's great, it's whatever. I wish Eric could have adopted him. Eric wishes he could have adopted him, but he can't take care of him. Eric's still a kid himself. I mean, in more ways than one, but Eric doesn't have a job. Eric barely has a place to live. Eric is back on his parents' couch because he moved out of the dorm or out of the apartment or out of the whatever with Jack and Rachel. But man, that's one emotional storyline. Thoughts?
No, I'm in agreement.
Yeah. So if anyone has any information about that, let us know, because I'm genuinely curious and I want to be factually accurate about it. But this this wedding that Topanga says, no, it's okay. People attend other people's weddings all the time. No, they freaking don't.
Not unless they're part of it.
No, exactly. Yeah, you don't. Okay, so. Oh my God, Topanga's a 90s wedding crasher. Dude. Wedding Crasher, Studio 2009, soon. I love that movie. Anyway, yeah, no, people don't. That's Topanga, the A student, turned into a wedding crasher. That's crazy. All right, we get to episode 19, Be True, directed by, can't believe this. It's directed by Mickey Dolenz. Yes, folks, that Mickey Dolenz, The Monkees. Written by David Brownfield. The series returns to form as Cory and Sean unite for the last time as bad boy team to help Mr. Feeney, whose hesitation in declaring his feelings for Dean Bolander looks like a fatal mistake when her ex-husband, Curtis Kincaid, returns from an expedition declaring bent on winning her back. Sean and Cory trash the interloper's lab and blame it on a jealous rage by Feeney, who then saves Dean Bolander's life for real and wins her heart by swatting the rare bee brought back by Curtis just before it stings her. She explains that she was not taken in for a moment by the boy's ruse, just impressed that Feeney's students care about him so much. Meanwhile, Rachel challenges Jack to take her out on a real date.
Feeney, you here. Sit now.
Eric, don't use that...
Dean Bolander.
Okay, what you got?
How old are you now, Mr. Feeney? What, 90 and 100?
100. What do you want?
Not what I want, it's what you want, but you're not going after.
Eric, my relationship with Dean Bolander will proceed at my pace, not yours.
You are such a scaredy cat. I mean, here's a woman that you've obviously got the hots for, and you're not going to do anything about it.
Mr. Matthews, don't reduce my feelings for the woman to the hots. Unless, of course, she used that term.
Mr. Feeney, you've been good to me over the years. You taught me everything I never paid attention to. It's payback time.
Oh, no. No payback time. I don't want it.
It's out of your hands,
Eric,
Feeney.
please.
Sorry, it's out of your hands, Feeney. Nothing you can do.
Eric, Dean Bolander is the kind of woman that you have to romance slowly, carefully, like an orchid. I'm a gardener. I know these things.
Stop selling me, girls. I like the man very much, but he needs to pick up the pace of this dance.
Isn't there anything to be said for the old-fashioned approach?
Yeah. Oh, no, he needs to do something. He needs to express his feelings. Goodness knows I've been dropping the man hints left and right.
Well, maybe you're being too subtle.
I hiked up my skirt at the seminar.
Damn.
The only problem is Jack is embarrassed that Rachel is taller than he is. Oh, God. See, this is why some of these storylines, I don't care about them. That's one. Like, come on.
I mean, I could see where that would be a problem for some people, but obviously, like, it wasn't a problem before that.
Yeah, it wasn't a problem before that. It wasn't a problem until all the old ladies in the building. And again, this must be an apartment building and not the dorms, because how many old ladies are coming up to them saying, she's too tall for you, he's too short for you. Like, oh my God, what in the hell? But yeah, the main story here, we get a Feeney storyline, and we get the William Daniels, Bonnie Bartlett characters falling in love. And so we get that. Yay! This one, I mean, okay, it's dealing with the adults. That's kind of cool. It's finally giving Feeney more to do than just teach the students.
Well, and he is a central part of the show.
Well, yeah, I know, but his central part of the show normally is to impart knowledge onto his students. It's, as they say, was it this episode or was it a previous episode or next episode? No, I don't remember which episode. He goes, I don't know what came over me, Dean Bolander. I just started teaching. She goes, we're teachers, George. You put us in a classroom, we're going to teach. So I think that was a previous episode. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so her ex-husband shows up. Oh boy, that guy. Francis X. McCarthy is who plays Curtis Kincaid. I recognize his face and his voice, but I don't know where I recognize him from. I don't recognize his name from anything.
Yeah, no idea.
No clue. But he's there. So yeah, so we got that going on. And yeah, nice little Feeney story here, which is really cool. We got Cory and Sean trying to pull a scheme. They not so good at pulling schemes anymore, are they? Or were they ever?
They always do schemes.
Yeah, they always do schemes, but they always get caught.
Yeah, but that's the part of the fun, and they know that.
I guess. Yes, I don't know. Jack in those elevator shoes. Oh my God. That was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious. Was Eric even in? I don't think Eric was in this at all, was he?
Mm-mm.
No. Interesting.
He's in the next one. He makes up for it.
No. He definitely more than makes up for it. Any interesting tidbits from you? Any thoughts from you on Be True for Mr. Feeney?
No, just cool. He gets something to do.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much where this one is.
So if I were to use this razor right now to shave under my arms, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. No, I hate it. Please don't.
Why wouldn't you just told me the truth?
The truth. That's funny, the truth.
Cory, if we're going to be married, we have to be able to be totally honest with each other. We should learn from this. From right now, total honesty.
It's a trap.
And then episode 20, which interesting with this is apparently you couldn't put a mature warning on Disney Channel back in the day because this one was held back from Disney Channel airings because of mature content. The Truth About Honesty, directed by Jeff McCracken, if I can talk, written by Allison M. Gibson. When Cory and Topanga make an agreement to tell the truth about everything and everyone, their total honesty pact creates tension at Rachel and Jack's first dinner party, when the party guests play a game that forces them also to tell the truth. Personal feelings are revealed that they would rather keep to themselves. As the episode comes to a close, Eric is telling his date a fake story of him taking a bullet for the president. He ends his story with the addition,
I'm Batman.
I am Batman.
Which he actually was Batman. And I wanted to make sure this was true because I wanted to make sure that this episode aired at the same time that was happening. And this episode aired April 30th, 1999, and Batman Beyond was on the air at that time. So technically, that is true because he was the voice of Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond. Truth About Honesty. There's a difference about being completely honest with someone and not hurting somebody's feelings by being honest. And again, I still think Cory, I'll say more Cory than Topanga, but she does it too a little bit here. They go a little bit too hard on this honesty thing. I'm not saying not to be honest. I'm just saying you can be honest, but you can also be kind as well. I still don't. We got 2 episodes left in this season after this, and one of them kind of doesn't really matter. But we got 2 episodes left in this season, and by episode 20, I still don't give 2 shits about Cory Matthews anymore.
At least not this season.
Not this season, I like that Rachel and Jack are trying to put on a dinner party for their friends because they're trying to get everybody together. I like that. I think that's a cool thing. I like Eric is trying to move on? Question mark? I just wish Eric could be more. I wish he didn't have to put on a fake story thing, which technically, wasn't he in My Date with the President's Daughter?
I don't remember.
I think he was. Anyway, what do you think about the truth about honesty here, sir?
I don't like this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't like it, huh?
Nah.
What don't you like about it?
I just don't care for it. I feel like it's like one of those over-exaggerated filler episodes.
That's very, very true.
I don't know. There were a lot of stupid episodes in season 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm. This is one of them for you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's at least another one this season.
Yeah. So I like the idea of what Sean and Angela do, where they're like, no strings, no nothing. Let's just go and make out. But then he ends up getting the emotions and all of that and everything else and all that. That's fine. I don't like the Cory and Topanga, the tell the truth about everything thing, because that's just, it's the way they do it. It's not that they tell the truth about everything. It's how they go about doing it that I have the problem with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. And again, because Cory has always taken things over the top, but as we've already stated, Cory in this back half is too extreme. And I know the whole point of the 90s was extreme. No, Corey. No, don't stop. But yeah, no. Like, really, seriously, the best part about this episode was I'm Batman. That's the best part. Was Will referencing Batman Beyond. And then the episode that I don't really care for, the psychotic episode. Directed by William Russ. Yay, we like William Russ. We like Alan Matthews.
Pretty much all you need to know about this episode is that Corey's having a dilemma.
Yeah, he's having
a life-changing dilemma, and then coming to the realization that past relationships are going to change as he embarks on his future with Topanga, and confessing mostly to Sean that he's afraid, and Sean's like, well, change is inevitable. But Corey's stuck in the past and wants things to stay the same. And this trope right here of their conversation is very much in tune with everything that's come before it and will come later. However, the way that it all kind of comes down is kind of goofy. So while I'm not hating on the episode completely, I don't particularly like. It's not like a do or die episode, like have to watch it, but at the same time, it's just kind of stating that things are going to change as they kind of ramp up for preparation for the next season anyway.
Yeah. And which it would be different. This episode would feel different to me. His fears, his nightmares would feel different to me if season 6, episode 22, State of the Unions, would be Cory and Topanga, Feeney and Bolander, both couples get married. If Cory and Topanga's wedding was going to be the season 6 finale, it would have been different. Psychotic episode would have hit different for me, but it's not. State of the Unions is basically Cory dealing with his anxieties about impending marriage, and then the delusion of Topanga's parents' marriage, and then the pending marriage of Feeney and Bolander. Has nothing to do with Cory and Topanga's. Okay, it has things to do with Cory and Topanga's wedding, but it is not Cory and Topanga's wedding at this point. Like, I don't know. I get it. I just don't. It's a skippable episode in my mind. It's not an episode I would rewatch. If I'm going back to rewatch Boy Meets World episodes, or if I'm gonna make somebody a list of Boy Meets World episodes to watch to get to know the characters, I would probably skip this one. Even if it is a defining episode for Cory's anxiety, I would still skip this. And then the finale, like I mentioned, the finale, State of the Unions, directed by Jeff McCracken, written by Barbara Feldman. I am curious. Is that the Barbara Feldman? Is that who I think it is? Because if that's Agent 99, that's kind of awesome. Agent 99, you probably have no idea who I'm talking about.
Nope.
Anyway.
Because of me.
Because you didn't want to take me away from my last year of high school.
And Cory.
Because you didn't want to rip me away from my friends.
Me.
Daddy and I thought we could work things out better if we took some time by ourselves.
Work what out? Like, there's nobody like you two. You two are so in love.
Topanga, people change.
Daddy, why is Mom talking like this?
We didn't want to dump this on you. We wanted to wait until after the wedding. Honey, we tried. We tried as
you
hard
guys will get through this. Marriage is not something to get through, Topanga. That's not why I got married.
Oh, God.
So, State of the Unions, as I've already mentioned, we have Topanga's parents, Rhiannon and Jedediah, returning, played by different actors this time. Played by real-life couple Annette O'Toole and Michael McKean.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was very funny.
Because I was like, they changed them, and they thought we wouldn't notice. Not that the original actors were all that memorable.
And honestly, the fact that we can now tie, and I know you don't care about this, but the fact that I can now tie Annette O'Toole, I can now tie Lana Lang in Superman to Boy Meets World, that's amazing. Because she was Lana Lang in Superman 3. Oh, no, it's not. It's not who I thought it was. So Barbara Feldman is not Barbara Feldon. Barbara Feldon was Agent 99 on Get Smart back in the 60s with Don Adams, but Barbara Feldman is one of the writers here on Boy Meets World. So, yeah, we get the breakdown of Topanga's parents and how they're not doing so well, and Topanga's not doing so well because of that, because she's just now finding out that they're in the process of separating, which devastates Topanga. Feeney and Dean Bolander, real-life husband and wife, William Daniels and Bonnie Bartlett, announced their engagement, and they agreed to get married at the Matthews living room. Meanwhile, self-pitying Eric asks Sean for advice on how to cope with losing Rachel to Jack. Okay, so... Oh, crap. We didn't do our homework, or I didn't do our homework. Damn it. Anyway, we got all next season. We'll do it next time, folks. So this is cool. This is cool to me because I have been listening to Pod Meets World, Daniel Fishel, Will Friedle, Ryder Strong, their podcast where they go back and they're rewatching all of the show and they're discussing it themselves. And seeing Eric and Sean discuss stuff as their characters on the show, I think is really cool. Like, you don't really have a lot of Eric and Sean moments because Sean is Cory's best friend. Sean and Eric have only had a handful of moments over the past 6 seasons. They haven't had a lot of moments. So seeing them have a moment here at the end of the 6th season, I really do like. I think that's really, really cool. Very fun. Very awesome. But yeah, the teachers get married and off we go. That's season 6. Cory's dealing with his anxiety because he's a anxious person, and yeah. Overall, season 6 isn't bad, but it isn't my favorite.
Yeah, I do prefer season 7.
Yeah. There are moments in season 6 that I like. There are lines and quotes in season 6 that I like, but I don't know if there are... Like, if I went back and I made a list of episodes from season 6, it might just be 5. I'm not even talking top 5. I'm just saying if I looked at all 22 episodes, it might just be 5 out of 22 episodes that I would go back and watch actively.
No, I could see that too. I didn't really enjoy season 6 on a whole. Like, yeah, there were elements of season. Each season has like episodes that are throwaway, but I feel like the longer the series went, the more throwaways I was like,
And
like I'm rewatching the early stuff again with Mary, and she's like, "Oh, great!" Like just looking at it and going, because we have 2 boys, and it's like so different lens.
Yep.
So it's humorous, it's kind of timeless, and then seeing the antics. So
you guys are going back to the beginning and watching it all over again?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Well, it's been years since we both watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. That's awesome. All right, folks. I think that's it. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to say for season 6? Anything else you want to say before we close this one off?
I don't think so.
All right. Season 7. So we basically pick up where we left off. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'll just say this first line. Basically, continuing from where the last season finale ended, distraught and emotionally rattled, Topanga breaks up with Cory once again, calling off their wedding too. Obviously, that's Show Me the Love, Part 1. And we're going to talk about this now. We're going to talk about this again in the next episode. I would like to know from the writers or from Michael Jacobs himself. I don't think we'll ever hear from Michael Jacobs, or from anyone on the show that knows why they do these two-parters and they name them different things. Show Me the Love, Part 1, For Love and Apartments, Part 2. Those are the first 2 episodes of Season 7. Why is the title different for each one? Why does couldn't it just be Show Me the Love and then For Love and Apartments? Why is it got to be a Part 1, Part 2? Why? I don't understand that whatsoever.
Probably so that you know that they go together.
Wouldn't we think that they... Okay, sure. Okay.
I mean, it went from episodic to serialized pretty quick, so it's not like it would be rocket science.
That's true. Very true, very true, very true. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for us. You got anything you're working on? Anything you want to promote?
Just trying to get back into the fold of regular podcasting again.
Yep.
And I've got plans to do just that.
Uh-oh. Be afraid, folks. Be very afraid.
Yeah, some afraid.
Very, very afraid. Thank you for joining us here on Podcaster Meets World. There is always get in contact with us to leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content, as well as buy our stuff at shop.geekcastradio.com. You can send us email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. As I said earlier, folks, please send us email about the adoption stuff that we were asking about earlier in the episode, because I'm genuinely interested about that versus state, cross state lines, etc., etc. I don't think that's a thing, but it could be. I don't know. Follow us on Twitter. Yes, we still call it Twitter around here, at Geekcast Radio for the network. I am at TFG1Mike. Where are you on social media, sir?
At SCP-21.
All right. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can check us out there as well. Join us next time when we will be discussing Boy Meets World Season 7, Part 1, which I think it's episode 1 through 12. I got to look and see how many episodes are in Season 7. I'm not looking at the moment. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Steve Megatron.
All right. Thank you for listening. And be sure to tune in next time here on Podcaster Meets World.
I think we have run out of time. Good night, everyone.
You gonna crank it up or what?
Dad?
Bet you didn't expect to see me, did you, son?
What are you doing here?
You looking for something? Thought I'd try and help you find it.
It's very cool of you.
Well, I was always a cool guy.
I miss you.
I know. But remember, I'm always